cycles. I see the lady in the blue jacket fumbling with the handle on the front door of the building that she's forever leaving. It appears as if she's locking it, as she does at this time. But there's always a bit of a struggle. All for show, of course. That's the beauty of it, you see. The small imperfections to hide the monotonous regularity that surrounds me. I see through it, though, and I'm not fooled. She does the same thing around the same time every short cycle except on the 6 and 7 short cycles, or what these frauds call the weekend. Sometimes she leaves a little early, sometimes a little late, but always around the same time.
They even switched up the color of her jacket a couple of long cycles ago. It used to be red.
Clever. I walk past her without commenting. I won't give them the satisfaction. It would only make me look like a fool, buying into the whole charade. I take solace in the small victory of knowing I see it, but refusing to show any outward acknowledgement. I go on. 100 or so steps later, and I'm walking by the postal van that's always somewhere in the vicinity around this time. They switch it up a little, sometimes parked up with the wheels on the sidewalk or slightly further down the street. The driver may even be entering or leaving the van around the same time I walk by, and he'll always ask me how I'm doing. I just grunt. I don't even look up at him. I won't give them the satisfaction. Oh, sure, you're the mail delivery guy, and you've got lots of real mail and packages to deliver to all the real people that live around here. Sure, buddy. How am I doing? I'm doing great because I know their game and I know what you are. They try to trick me with sounds, too. The van is always blaring out some old rock music. It's not always the same song at the same time every short cycle. That would be too obvious. But it's always the same kind of music. Nice try, but I'm not buying it. Stopping at the corner that takes me onto the street my abode is positioned on, I notice a gray blur moving up one of the fake trees that have been put there. It's one of those rats with the furry tails. They have the fake people calling them squirrels. Ridiculous. That's obviously not even a real word. There's no such animal. It's just what they think will distract me. I'm never distracted, though. I stay focused each and every cycle, long and short. I always know what's going on. I see a lot of them at this point in the long cycle. When the simulated trees start dropping their leaves and the ground fills with yellow and brown copies, that's when the tree rats are busiest. Apparently, they are supposed to be finding and burying food for when the long cycle season changes into the cold period. It's a nice touch. The idea of animals needing to struggle to survive the cold time when the ground freezes and white particles drop from the sky. A lesser person would be convinced, at least. I've even seen one of their brainwashing programs about the tree rats. They put these programs on the moving images box that's in my living area. There's a lot of programs like that with a whole litany of silly and fantastical creatures to keep me occupied. Some of the tree rats can even fly. Can you imagine believing that nonsense? Those aren't even the worst of the attempts at brainwashing. They often show these fake people they call politicians, who are supposed to be in charge, and they are always trying to get into power. The thing that gives them away, though, is that even though they will change their names and faces over many long cycles, no matter which of them I'm told is in power, they always end up saying the same stuff and doing the same things. It doesn't matter if it's a red one or a blue one, always the same. They never fix anything.
Nothing changes. Such a coincidence. Some of the brainwashing programs are very long and always have the same few people in them.
Movies, they are called. As far as I can tell, it's the same 3 or 4 stories recycled over and over, and the simulated people take turns being in different ones. It's so obvious and fake. The fact that nobody else seems to care proves that they are part of the simulation too. Heck, some of the so-called people on my street can't stop talking about how good-looking or talented the other fake people on the Lightbox are. I'll give them credit for how they use them to try and convince me that this is all real. They even made one over 20 long cycles ago called The Matrix that showed people being stuck in a simulated world, and the people in it had no clue. Genius. Trying to make me think that it's only a fictional notion and therefore couldn't possibly explain what is actually going on in my own life. I've seen the main character from that movie in lots of movies, and the other fake people are always saying how amazing and kind he is. Nice try, but they are selling it too hard. Sometimes I marvel at the efforts they go to, and I just have to shake my head and laugh about it. A lesser man would be so easily hoodwinked. I wish I could remember the time before I was imprisoned, but the fact that they can imprint memories is possibly the most incredible aspect of their technology. Having removed my actual memories, they created a whole backstory for me. Growing up as a child, fake parents and friends, all my schooling and trips abroad. Oh, right. I'm supposed to be living on a giant sphere in the middle of infinity, and the only source of energy is a giant mass of thermonuclear explosions hilariously named the sun. They even call every 7th of the short cycles after it. We just magically go round and round this giant ball of fire, apparently, of course. Yet another cycle. Everything in cycles. The ball I'm supposed to be living on has its own cycle, too. It revolves around its own center, according to the supposed experts on the moving images box. Every short cycle is supposed to be one single, such rotation. It's utterly absurd, because that would mean I'm moving for thousands of miles every short cycle, let alone the supposed movement around that giant ball of fire. I would be clinging to the ground for fear of being flung off if that were really so. Do they think I'm an idiot? Anyway, I've had enough of all their lies and illusions. I think I've figured a way out. I found this long piece of cord in the backyard of the house next door. I realized I can wind it around the light fitting in my living room ceiling, and I've positioned a chair underneath. I've fastened the cord into a loop, and yes, the irony of it being yet another cycle is not lost on me. It's slack enough that it fits over my head, and I pull it closed around my neck. When I kick away the chair, the cord will tighten and either snap my neck or choke the air from my body. Either way, I will finally be able to truly wake up. I'm so excited to be free. Sure, yes, they have been winning for all this time, keeping me trapped here, but now I will have the last laugh, even though they have messed with my mind to the point that I don't know what I will find in the real world or who I really am. I can still claim victory. I will return to reality, no longer subject to these endless, hellish cycles.